Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grandstand Sports Data. In today's video, we're giving you the round two betting preview between the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll be breaking down this matchup statistically, fundamentally, and then giving you all the betting angles in this matchup. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's take a look at the statistical breakdown to start off. You can see that Edmonton is a top 10 team. They sneak right outside the top 10 if you're looking at hockey references, SRS. They have them at 11th, but basically a top 10 team, we have them. Whereas Vegas, on the other hand, we have a top 3, and hockey reference has them in the 4th spot for the entire league. Moving on to differentials, almost identical on that side of the ice or in that department. Now looking at about discipline and penalties as we move on to special teams. So Vegas is the most penalized team in the league, worst in opponent penalties drawn, and most team penalties committed. So that's dangerous against an Edmonton squad that ranks number 12 in power play conversion, but also has some of the most elite, for lack of a better term, killers on the ice when it comes to McDavid and Draisaitl. Next, you want to take a look at if the odds makers don't heavily juice the Oilers' power play props or team total overs. That's a signal to look for value in Edmonton's special teams performance. In-game swings could be tied to whistle frequency, so just take a look at that. Next, moving on to shot quality and finishing. Vegas finishes better. Edmonton creates more, but their finish rate is brutal. It's ranked 30th in the NHL, as you can see all the way down at the bottom. That mismatch, that sets up a classic regression or continuation angle. Bettors must decide between two things. Does Edmonton's offense finally capitalize, or do finishing woes kill their value again? Now, what should you be watching for as a bettor? You should look for those live unders, because if Vegas controls tempo and limits penalties. Next, you should be looking for if the Oilers overs or power play props, and that's if Vegas keeps taking penalties early. Next would be early line movement, so based on public perception of Vegas's record, not matchup mechanics. So Vegas might be the stronger team, but the Oilers are the better fit against this opponent, and the betting market may be slow to adjust. So moving on to the fundamental matchup breakdown, you can see forget the season resumes in this one. Here's why this matchup is going to matter. It's going to be Edmonton's star power. McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. They're generating relentless pressure. Their top forwards have elite Corsi for percentage in offensive creation, and they're going to exploit Vegas's aggressive defenders like Hanifin. You can see him. He has a Corsi 4 that's about middle of the road, but his plus minus is a minus 17. So he's going to be a bad matchup against guys like Draisaitl and McDavid. Moving touching on Dave Vegas's defensive core, that they're basically flashy but flawed, as you could see. With Hanifin, Theodore, and McNabb allow a ton of chances. That's going to be dangerous versus an Oilers team that creates high danger looks even when finishing poorly. Goaltending advantage clearly leans Vegas. Aiden Hill and Schmidt have significantly outperformed Edmonton's stand-up, especially Skinner. Skinner's been a puddle with a brutal minus 13.6 goals saved above average. I don't think you're going to be seeing him in the series unless it gets really bad for Picard, who has played better in this last series. Aiden Hill, though, he's been great. There's no way that you could say that he doesn't have the edge in this series when it comes to the goaltending. So if the series goes deep, Vegas could steal games purely off of goaltending alone. And that's something to look for. What else can you look for? Look for the Oilers to dominate expected metrics. So, but if they can't finish, Hill will turn it into value underdog play. So remember that if they can't finish, that number we touched on in the last slide, look for Hill to steal some games. Vegas may have more balance, but the matchup favors Edmonton's firepower, right? As you can see that as well. I would expect public money to back Vegas due to goalie edge, opening the door for a sharper Oilers price game to game. So that's something to keep an eye out for. All right, so now let's take a look at the betting market angles. These are the more profitable stats throughout the last 5 years in the playoffs, and who holds the edge in those specific metrics. You can see Vegas; they're owning the more resume metrics, right? They're ahead in power rating, SRS, goal differentials, and have converted value all season in those type of markets, and that's why they're favored. Now, Edmonton, on the other hand, they're winning more of the matchup wars. You're talking about the dominating in shot metrics like shot differential, Corsi, scoring chance percentage. Even our model, which has been winning throughout these whole playoffs or since the last 5 years, is up $1.71, has Edmonton. So a little bit of a spoiler alert moving forward in the video. Now, special teams could be the swing factor, like we mentioned earlier. Vegas has the elite power play, but their penalty kill and penalty discipline are brutal. If Edmonton stays aggressive, they can flip that Vegas strength into a liability. What this means for bettors. Well, expect Vegas to draw the public and books to shade the line, but nearly every sharp metric favors Edmonton. Our model sees value on both the spread and money line. Now, monitor goalie announcements. If Pickard starts, Oilers bettors may get even better pricing on bounce back spots. I do think Pickard's going to start. I don't think there's any way that they go get away from Skinner. But I had to present the last sentence because I have to show both ends of the coin. I can't just give you just bad information or look like I'm favoring one team or the other. You come here for unbiased handicapping, that's what I have to give you. Now let's take a look at the money line betting trends throughout the season for both of these teams, and then what to look for going on into the series. The market trend here is that the Oilers, the 52 and 36, down $3.08 for every $1 bet. That's minus 3.5% in your portfolio if you held Edmonton. Edmonton posted a strong record, but their ROI tells the real story. Bettors lost money backing them due to heavy chalk pricing and inconsistent market performance. They're often overpriced because of star power. Vegas, on the other hand, went 54 and 34, a quieter value team, not dominant, but they avoided big losing stretches and paid out more efficiently relative to expectations. Now, what do you watch for when you're seeing these two charts? Well, Vegas is undervalued. The public perception leans heavy toward the Edmonton Star core. That opens value for Vegas as a short underdog or series price grab. Also want you to be cautious with Edmonton as favorite. The trend shows they've struggled to cover the inflated number, especially late in the season. Finally, live betting angle. If Vegas scores first, Edmonton's high-powered offense often triggers aggressive in-game swings. So there may be plus EV buyback opportunities in-game if Vegas goes up. The final note that I'll leave you guys with in this is that this isn't about fading Edmonton, it's about understanding when the market's inflated their value. This series sets up perfectly for price-sensitive bettors to look for Vegas at plus odds and middle opportunities. Okay, so bringing it all together with the series betting lines, you can see Edmonton minus 1.5 games is at plus 155 money, or you can get them on the money line at minus 120. Vegas is at 1.5 at minus 180, and if you like them outright, they're at plus money at plus 100. So the market leans Edmonton, but not aggressively, suggesting odds makers respect Vegas upside, especially after tight regular season performance. Now, model projection. We have Edmonton 4 games to 3 with 56% of those victories of the 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations. The series is razor thin. This isn't a mismatch, it's a pricing puzzle. So just keep that in mind when looking game to game in this matchup. Let's take a look at the model pick versus the market. So the model favors Oilers to win the series, that value on that minus 120 line, but also sees Vegas at plus 1.5 games as a smart hedge. That's why your model is split. Money line on Edmonton, spread value on Vegas. And even the market's kind of telling you that this looks like it's going to be a series that goes 7. The betting implications here, you don't need to pick a side outright. This is a middling opportunity. You can bet the Oilers money line if you believe in their offensive ceiling. You can take Vegas at plus 1.5 if you're leaning toward a 7-game war or a value-driven angle on a close series. That's exactly what I would say too. So this is a classic spot where odds, not teams, should drive your bet. Both sides offer value depending on how the series unfolds. Sharp bettors will keep both options open, and that's exactly what I'm going to do if you're asking me personally. I think taking Edmonton at that minus 120, but then also taking Vegas, and you have to do it at a different sports book. You understand me? You have to do it at a different sports book. Getting them at plus 1.5. I think this series does go 7. I agree with the model. Maybe even Vegas might be able to steal this. I think that their defense is being slept on. I think it's real deep. So I'm a little bit nervous of that Edmonton at minus 120. I do think Vegas is going to cover that 1.5 at minus 180. I'm kind of still up in the air with this matchup. So I guess a little bit more digging needs to be done on my end, but I've given you the analysis and you can do what you want with it. Okay, so thank you guys for tuning in to the NBA first round playoff preview. We hope you had a great time and picked up some awesome information. Now, don't forget to subscribe to Grandstand Sports Data for more great shows like this one. Also, don't forget to give this video a like and share it with your friends. And leave a comment down below on who you think is going to win this series. That's all for now, and we'll see you guys in the next one.